have it figured out where everyone plays on the same court because you couldn't hardly tell when they'd step inside of the pro line. It's like, what are they doing? It's like, oh yeah, that's like a regular three for them. That actually counts.
Dude, so before we get into the actual topic, I did also want to talk about because we haven't been on the pod has kind of taken a break too, so there's a lot of things to talk about. We'll get to all that, but I wanted to ask you about something I was thinking about yesterday. I said about like 8 billion times in the past 30 seconds. Anyway, my ideal five, like
Oh, I didn't reply to you, but I was giving this some serious thought. Please go on. I'm glad we're talking about this.
yes, so my ideal five, like historic, you can choose anyone, 5-man lineup. I just feel like my whole thesis, because I was saying this like 2 years ago back at the end of SBC too. Like I was thinking about a paper or a long like form thing to write about like how the best team you want is basically all Kevin Durant and Giannis, and like that's the type of team that you want: length, skill, scoring, defense, literally everything at the physical dimensions that those guys possess, right? So I was watching, and literally it came to my mind when I was watching Anthony Davis yesterday or 2 days ago playing against the Suns. He just grabbed the board, like looked so smooth bringing it down the court, and then hit him with like a quick hezzy and then pull up mid range. It basically looked like KD, which made me think of KD. And then LeBron was also on the floor, which LeBron is also just unstoppable vision, like best vision in the league, or maybe in history. So then I was like, all right, I need another long ass playmaking, also can play center and handle the ball type guy. And the only other guy that I could think of was Magic Johnson. And then I added Giannis on top of that because Giannis is you need the strength to match Shaq. So in my head I was just like, okay, what's my ideal lineup? Is it Shaq, or is it a Shaq that can actually take some shots even though you don't really want him to from outside, but also possesses the strength and also the speed, quickness, and playmaking off the dribble and in the post. Like Shaq wasn't gonna dime someone up off the dribble, but he'll get you off the post. Giannis can do both, and if Shaq isn't too overpowering for Giannis, I feel like Giannis can match up really nicely with Shaq. So then I was like, okay, now I have literally 6, 9, or 10 at every position. The only position that I don't really want being played is Anthony Davis at the one, but even that's like passable for sometimes. But every other position can be played by every other guy at 6, 9, or 10 or higher, and I just think that's my ideal lineup. Like I didn't choose Jordan because like if I'm building an actual team, not like this hypothetical dream scenario team that I'm coming up with. Yes, you take Jordan literally 99.9 times out of however many times, but that one time is that he doesn't have that length that I'm trying to build my squad on, and also doesn't have like the all league or all history, all NBA, whatever vision that both Magic and LeBron have. And then KD obviously is just the best. I don't know. I'm rambling on at this point, but I just thought that that cohesive unit of length, strength, skill, and everything else. I'm curious what you think though.
Yeah, I mean it's similar. I've thought about not like an all-time lineup, but like a current. Bill Simmons likes to make the joke, who would you want like captaining the team if you had to play the aliens for the fate of humanity? And the Giannis, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant was definitely like a first four that I'd go with. At this point, I'd probably throw in Kawhi as well. But if you're looking at all-time, so I think Giannis is listed at like 240, 250 or something like that. So I'm wondering if Shaq in his very prime, when he was just backing dudes under the boards and dunking on them, would be a problem.
That's exactly yeah.
Um,
That's the one thing I'm just like, all right. If Shaq actually might just be crazy
right.
overpowering for even Giannis.
So, and then I thought like Curry and Jordan, and I was like maybe Clay, and someone else did the exact lineup that I thought of right away, which was Curry, Jordan, Clay, Kawhi, and then Shaq. But you had a good point about like all of your dudes being so long that if you switch everything, those guys coming off of screens might not be like as effective as you need them to get that space to shoot it.
That was
So I
my
was
whole
trying to think of
thing.
who else.
Like my response to almost everyone who had Curry, which I'm a huge Curry fan, and Curry is definitely like
Hmm.
in that discussion of perfect lineup. And I don't even know; we'll never find out which one is actually the perfect lineup. But
Right.
and honestly, on a given night, like there might not be one perfect lineup. Like you might be able to pick 20 players, make 4 teams out of them, and then they're just like extremely equally matched. Like that's how good and high of a bar all these players are at, that they're all unstoppable to a certain degree. And if they're all on their unstoppable nights at the same time, anyone can beat anyone, I feel like. So you're trying to come up with, like, if everyone's unstoppable at the same time every game, who's going to be the best? And I feel like in that moment, you can't really pick. So for me, I was just thinking the consistency, if I have the effort, the physical attributes will take over, because you can have an off night shooting, but you can't have an off night of length and quickness
Right.
and speed.
So I settled on the lineup I would have put out there then, just because Curry could possibly, number one, be a target for some of your guys, and number two, if we can't get him off of those screens because you're switching everything, was Harden, Jordan, Clay, Kawhi, and Shaq. Because then we've got, well, was Jordan a pretty good 3-point shooter? He was average, right? Like, he was fine. He just never took him.
It's tough with Jordan because I'm just like, if he was hell bent on being a good shooter, there's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind that he could have, like, been a 38% shooter.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I agree. So, because I was trying to think, you'd want, like, I think isolation guys like Jordan and Harden, and then guys like Clay and Kawhi who can also spot up, and then hopefully just Shaq messing stuff up.
I really like picking KG and Hakeem, and then, like, Kevin Durant and Tracy McGrady and, like, LeBron, or, like, those types of mix-ups. I really like if you just put in KG instead of, like, I don't know, Giannis or AD, or take out one of the guys, Magic Johnson, maybe, if you're going LeBron full time. But, like, I don't know. I just felt like the length. Those are the other type of guys that I like. Kawhi, KG, Tracy McGrady, Akeem. Who else was, like, kind of, like, in the mix for this type of archetype? That I'm talking about.
Right.
So those are the kind. Maybe Grant Hill could kind of.
Penny Hardaway, but
Penny Hardaway maybe.
Really
Penny Hardaway instead of Magic Johnson. Like,
I mean, Penny and Shaq did get to the NBA Finals together before he got hurt. So, like, those guys were just they were a dream out there. That 30 for 30 they have on that team is pretty sweet.
Anyway, let's get back to the actual topic. This was a really fun discussion I had with a lot of people on Twitter. It was fun to chat about. And I'm doing all these topics on my Turkish podcast, so I'm just like, this is actually really fun, and I'm way better at speaking English anyway. So this shit is going to come back to the bench mob for sure. But let's get into Drummond trade discussions, because it's the news. We kind of haven't been doing trade deadlines for a few weeks anyway, so I didn't know which team made sense. And Drummond is probably going to be traded. We already did the Kevin Love stuff. That has only gotten worse in the past couple days.
Yep.
So we're not going to do a full Pistons breakdown like we normally do. I'll go through their cap situation real quick. But we're going to go right into the Drummond trade negotiations. And DJ, if you have anything to say about any of these players, just stop me along the way. Blake Griffin, $34.5 million this year, guaranteed next year, and then player option in that third year. That's dependent on health. Maybe if there's an extension to, I don't know, probably not. I feel like he's more likely to be traded than stay on the Pistons through the rest of his contract. Drummond is the player in question here, $27 million. Next year, $28 million, $28.7 million. He's planning on declining. So you don't want to lose him for nothing, which is where all these trade rumors kind of come up, is like, the Pistons side, Pistons can't leak it, the Drummond side leak it. It's, I don't know, but it makes sense that the Pistons would want this out to kind of gauge interest from other teams and all that. So, and Drummond has no real reason to stay with the Pistons. They have one of the, not that any situation isn't fixable in one offseason. I feel like that's an underrated part of this league. If you make all the right moves off the edges, you can have a contender in a weird way, like we have in Miami. Like, one off, or the Washington top 5 offense, or Charlotte looking like a real squad, maybe if you have the right moves. Like, one offseason can actually put you in the right direction. So I don't want to be completely hopeless for the Pistons, but players don't really think that way, and they also aren't the ones making those decisions. So Drummond wants to leave. The Pistons need to find out a better way to get there. And the roster, the way it currently sits. Actually, what do you think about those two? And then I'll move on to the rest of the roster.
Well, Drummond's their leading scorer this year, which I found surprising. That, Blake Griffin, I guess he's only played in 18 games so far, but he hasn't really found his touch scoring. So, I mean, leading rebounder and scorer. Perhaps you want to keep him and trade Blake Griffin instead if you can get a better return. The opting out is the interesting thing with Drummond, because I don't think he would get an annual average value or an annual value of like 28, but if he can come back and get like a 25 from someone for 4 years, I'm sure he wants to do that because he's right about to enter his prime here at age 26. I think he is.
So that's another thing that I want to get to. Like, what is your take on Andre at the max?
Oh,
You know that's what he's gonna ask for.
of
Isn't
course. I mean, you have to, but I mean, what is the max right now? Would that be like 35 or
for
so?
him maybe it's like 32 because he's not at the. I don't know
He's
if
not. He's gonna be in the 6 to 10. Wait,
it's
yeah,
7 to
he's not
10.
in. Yeah, 7 to 10. He's not
He
10
might be
plus.
because 19 to 26 he might be. Anyway,
I think he's
say
because if he would
35.
opt out now, that he's probably opting out because he got into that bracket. I would assume. I mean, it feels like Andre Drummond's been in the league forever
Yeah.
because he like came in super young. So I feel like he would be in the 7 to 10, which is 30% of the salary cap at one.
Whatever. It's a lot of money.
Yeah,
A lot of money.
it's a bunch of cash. But I don't. That's still north of 30, no doubt. And I don't know if I'd want to give him 30 a year
Yeah, no,
to do that at
especially
his position.
it's about the incremental value you're getting based off the other person that you're gonna sign, and also the other person that you could have given that money to is not worth Drummond minus the next best player. Like it just doesn't
Right.
make any sense to me to give a player like that, which he's great. I'm not saying he's not great. I'm just saying in terms of value on the basketball court, I'd rather spend the money that it costs to get the extra of a Drummond versus the next guy on someone
Yeah.
else. That money is what better spent. So
Just quick, the next closest rebounds per game to him on the Pistons is Christian Wood at 5.1, and Drummond's averaging darn near 16 boards a
yeah,
game.
he's great.
That's
Like
nuts.
he's great. I'm not against Drummond. I think he's a great fit for a lot of teams. I don't even think that it would be a bad idea for a certain team to sign that because for certain teams that extra value might be the value you need. Like for the Celtics,
Oh, if Drummond was a Celtic, they'd get every board.
That takes the Celtics to a place where they can now guard Embiid, which is their
Yeah.
biggest problem. Again, or even Giannis. I feel like Andre is your best shot against one of your best shots against Giannis from a strength perspective, and he's also fairly quick. So Giannis might like if you're thinking playoff series, Celtics, you have the wing rotation down, you just get worked by Giannis every time, or you're gonna get worked by Embiid moving forward. I feel like if they defend well, the size is what matters there. Against the two best teams in the like those, if teams in the West are fake contenders because of not having a wing to get by LeBron or not having the wings to get by Paul George and Kawhi, like the Blazers, the Nuggets, the Jazz, all to me fake contenders because they don't have that guy. The Celtics aren't going to be a real contender in my eyes until they can match up with Giannis and Embiid. So it's funny how the East goes through bigs while the West goes through wings right now. It can flip in another season. But anyway, so the Celtics are a big target of mine. Obviously, I'm pretty passionate about that. It's tough to make it work though. Anyway, Reggie Jackson 18 million expiring. Snell 11.3 this year. Player option 12 next year. He's probably gonna take that. Langston Galloway 7.3 expiring this year. Rose would have been a major topic for a Pistons trade deadline. If you do have Rose things to talk about, we can do them. I didn't really look at them though. So I'll just take calls, not make them for him. 7.3 this year, 7.6 next year. Luke Kennard 3.8 this year. Team option next year. He's the one guy that's like I have some faith in. And then Demboya for like a bright future. But with the Hornets, it was or who was it? Malik Monk and Miles Bridges. And now they put all these other guys around them, and two okay looking pieces for the future can be enough sometimes to build around. Anyway, you can stop me whenever, by the way. I'm just going down the list.
Oh, Luke Kennard I've been really impressed with this year. Like just continuing to improve year after year. I think he's just a touch shy of 40% from three right now, and he's increased his 3-point field goals again year over year. So just really nice from him. And then obviously Derrick Rose just keeps doing Derrick Rose things. It's been a really fun part of his career after obviously the injuries kind of sidelining him, making him a minimum player. He's just impacting every team that he's on, and he's nothing but a walking bucket. And also assisting. He's got, I think, the team lead in assists for the Pistons, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really? I don't have the basketball reference in front of me, but that would be interesting. They don't really have like Reggie Jackson is their only other point guard kind of guy. Like
Yeah, because they don't have Ish Smith anymore.
Oh, Derrick Rose
So
is
like
probably leading them in assists. Let me just pull their basketball reference up.
I think it's gonna be him. Cause wait, Reggie Jackson's only played
100%.
2 games this year. Oh wow, incredible.
Incredible.
Who's starting at the point guard for their starting lineup
Drummond.
is all over the place.
All
Bruce
right.
Brown and Tony Snell are getting a ton of run. Let's
Bruce
go.
Brown is getting a ton of run, man. Bruce Brown is really athletic. So D Rose 17.6, almost 6 assists, 5.7 assists. Luke Kennard 15.8 points, 4.1 assists. Reggie Jackson 4 assists for them, but again, you said 2 games, so he's probably
Hmm.
injured. Is what I
Yeah.
think. Player injury: Jackson is closing in on a return, but no announcement has been made yet. His back is what's injured there.
Okay.
I didn't even notice he was like, because I've watched a couple Pistons games. I didn't even notice Reggie Jackson wasn't playing. Like that's, I was just like, okay, like Luke Kennard's playing well. Like Bruce Brown's really like maybe can
Looking
pop.
bouncy.
Um, anyway, let's get on. The rest are minimum guys: Markieff Morris, Thon Maker, Sekou Doumbouya, all on $3 million contracts. Doumbouya obviously the rookie scale deal. Tim Frazier 1.6 expiring this year. Bruce Brown, Svi is on the squad. Kyrie Thomas, and that kind of rounds out the roster. Let's get to the trade negotiations. Should we put 20 minutes, 25? Like, what are you feeling?
I think 20 will probably do it, especially with just the two of us. We'll be able to roll through stuff really quickly.
100%. And we're going to base it all mostly off one player anyway. So 20 minutes. Let us go. All right. I'll make the calls first. Atlanta.
Yes, we're here.
So we saw on the news that you guys were interested in Andre Drummond, and we want to have a discussion about that.
I mean, I'm not going to say that we're just so crazy about him. I mean, maybe I wouldn't say that necessarily, but yeah, we'd take him.
So we were thinking about Parsons, the Brooklyn first that's lottery protected, and another very heavily protected first.
We couldn't do it for 2 firsts for Andre. We do have confidence that if we were to acquire him, even if he would opt out of his contract, we could re-sign him and convince him to stay here in Atlanta. But that's still kind of risky for us. We do like the Chandler Parsons for him as far as the money goes. But in terms of draft capital, we were actually thinking of the 2022 first round pick that we get from Oklahoma City, protected for the lottery, and if it doesn't convey, it becomes seconds.
That's what
as
I was
well
looking
as
for. That's what I was looking for, the Brooklyn and that OKC, actually.
Okay, so we could do that OKC first, as well as we do have a 2023 New Orleans second round pick that we could toss in there for you.
I would need 2 seconds if it's not two first. So the first and 2 seconds, if it's not going to be two first. Just
That
because
first could become 3, or that first could turn into 2 seconds for you if OKC stays good.
Yeah, but that makes that pick a little worse in
It's true.
overall. And then also, so you're taking away that Brooklyn pick, and then you're adding in that pick that might not even be a first, and then you're taking away the second first. So I would definitely need 2 seconds on top of that OKC first, or we could just do the Brooklyn first this year, lottery protected.
So far, that's looking like it is going to convey. I think Brooklyn's in the
Yeah, they're
7th seed right now. Or 6th seed right now?
They're
Did they
7
pass?
seed. No, they're 7 seed. You're right. They're like 5.
I was gonna say, yeah. So, but we do like that still with the young core. Drummond I think could fit in fairly well. He's got a bit of an age on the guys, so we would be more interested in doing the OKC first, the New Orleans second, and then we also have. Let me double check on this because it's worded very weirdly. We could do either a Golden State or Miami second in 2024, or something called the 2023 second from Charlotte or Brooklyn, second most favorable,
All right.
including Atlanta.
All right, just another second. Just another second. Man, I think let's just move on to the other deals because we've spent a lot of pick discussion time here. I think that might be that. I mean, that's probably fine. In the end, also, yeah, if we think we're gonna get nothing for him, a potential first is better than nothing. Anyway, what about Alan Crabb, Alex Len, and the Brooklyn first?
That doesn't really change anything too crazy for me that I would want to up that pick to the Brooklyn first.
Okay. Anyway, let's go to the Boston Celtics.
We're here.
I talked a lot in the pre-show as the Celtics, so it's interesting being on the other
Hmm.
side. Um, Drummond and Rose for Hayward.
Wow, that's interesting. Oh, wow. Drummond and Rose for Hayward. That is that's intriguing. Oh man, I don't think we can do that. Oh, I will admit that size is something that we could use help on. I'm not saying it's not, and
No,
this
yeah.
would definitely help solve that. Oh, Derrick Rose as a killer at the end, him or Kemba is pretty intriguing. Like those guys just are hard to guard. But I don't think that we could do it for Hayward. We definitely want to keep. I mean, wings go through the West, bigs go through the East, sure, but I think have, in our opinion, the best trio of wings in the East, and so we think that we can get another big around the edges in order to shore that up and make us a true contender in the East.
Yeah, by the way, that's a really tough deal if I was the Celtics too, and like I wouldn't do it either. Um, so, and also he has a player option that's ending, so the Pistons,
Hmm.
like even on the Pistons side, I would probably do it, but I just needed to have that conversation because I thought it was an interesting
Yeah.
trade. Let's go to the Hornets though.
Oh yes, we are here.
Um, Biombo, MKG, and a lottery protected first.
Would it be like lottery turn into 2 seconds kind of first?
Um, 3 years at the lottery if you're gonna not make it a first.
Okay. It's a long time to tie up our pick, although I don't think we'll make the playoffs this year or next year, maybe the year after that. We had written down Batum and then the 2020 Boston second round pick that we own, if that intrigues you at all.
I don't necessarily like Batum has one more year, right?
Yes, he does have one more year, although it might be descending. Let me double check. I think
It's
it's
not
descending.
it doesn't matter. I think even 15 million for Batum at this rate is
It's
a,
not descending, it's
yeah,
27.
it's 27. So he'll probably take that. Like I don't even know if he'll get 3 years, 39, like to
Hmm.
recoup. So I would take it if I were him. Um, and I
So
would
you'd
not
rather
want.
do Biombo and Gilchrist for the money rather than Batum.
Both are expiring, and then I would also
Makes
want a
sense.
lottery protected first. So
Okay.
basically, it's players that aren't crazy valuable that are on an
Hmm.
expiring, and now you want a first for that.
Yep. I can see how that's more palatable for you. We don't want to give up a full first, but we could offer swap rights on our first round
It's
pick.
only a half first. It's lottery protected.
I know, but we would have to tie it up for 4 years in order to make it the double seconds that
I mean,
I
it
would
could
want to
be.
finish with.
I mean, it could be. We could lower the protections, 15 and 8, and then 2 seconds.
Hmm, that's interesting. I still no, I still think it's a little too early for us. And Drummond could just walk after this season. I'm not as confident in our ability to re-sign him, so we definitely can't really risk a first on acquiring him. But if you would want to do Biombo and Gilchrist and that Boston second for him, we are here for you for that deal.
No, I would need a first if I'm
I
good.
understand.
Yeah. So Dallas,
We're here.
Andre Drummond and Langston Galloway for Tim Hardaway Jr., Justin Jackson, and Courtney Lee.
We're gonna have to say no on that one. That would be a little bit more size than we'd need with Kristaps, him, Powell, and Kleba all in there,
But
and
it'll be
Boban.
Drummond and Porzingis though.
That is nice rebounding wise. I mean, our offense is lethal right now. I don't know if Drummond in there would help that necessarily. But then giving up our wing depth of Jackson and Hardaway, and who was our third player? Was it Courtney Lee or someone else?
Courtney Lee.
Courtney Lee is someone that's not too crazy, but Langston I don't think can replace what Hardaway and Jackson are giving us. So we're not really looking to rock the boat too extremely right now, given where we are. We feel like we're finding a nice groove,
I would
trying to get
argue
up and over.
if Doncic can make Dwight Powell and Kleba play to the level at they're playing, because every play runs through Doncic. It's not like Dwight
Mhm.
Powell and Kleba are just creating a bunch of plays, right? They're hustling, all right, but
Yeah,
if Doncic was creating plays for Andre Drummond, wouldn't you think that would be a lot? It's, especially over Powell. Kleba is a different kind of look,
hmm
and then the dominance of Porzingis and Drummond on the boards and on just defense. You know,
it is pretty solid.
inside out capabilities. I mean, you're also not losing too much because you can put Galloway in there and Tim Hardaway Jr. Like Doncic, you want the ball in Doncic's hand all the time anyway. So Tim
hmm
Hardaway Jr. isn't really playing his on-ball presence, which I don't know how effective he's going to be. You know,
hmm
Galloway's more of an off-ball 3-and-D kind of guy. Am I convincing you at all, or is this for not?
It's all right. I actually the deal that we'd like to counter is Courtney Lee and DeLon Wright for Drummond. Because we want to keep Tim and we want to keep Justin Jackson.
I got you.
We are with you that Courtney Lee can be in this deal.
I got you. So Dwight Powell is actually a different, like he's good. So that's not completely ridiculous. But Justin Jackson was kind of the guy I want. Like Tim Hardaway Jr. If we could make up the money in another way, I'm not trying to pry Tim Hardaway Jr. off of your hands.
hmm
I'm more trying to get
It's more
Justin
about Justin
Jackson,
Jackson.
and Courtney Lee makes the money work. So that's kind
Okay.
of
So I mean, Courtney Lee, DeLon Wright, and Justin Jackson do get us to 25 million, but we would need someone back from you to help us out on the wing.
Courtney Lee, who and Justin Jackson,
Courtney Lee, DeLon Wright, and
Delon
Justin
Wright.
Jackson. That does get us to 25.5 million.
Ooh, I like that actually.
Um, but who would you be willing to
Do
toss
you want
back to
Rose?
us? Yes, I would like Rose. Well, let me make sure that would work though. Oh, we do. It looks like we have a trade exception. Oh, we still have 11 mil from the Harrison Barnes trade exception.
So you can pull Rose into that. I mean, I don't. The only reason why I say Rose is because like there's no other play that you guys would want from me.
Yeah, I was looking through.
Like Bruce Bowen, maybe Bruce Brown, but like I kind of like his potential.
I like Bruce Brown. I understand why you'd want to keep him. He'd work for us
Like
as
I
well.
like Rose. This is just like okay, Rose is 31. He plays
Mhm.
kind of one way. Like he probably wants to be on a contender anyway. Like, and he has some value. And if I can get DeLon Wright, who's young on contract, to provide like a current Rose type of vibe in the next 2 to 3 years,
Mhm.
like I'm down for that.
If it would work for you, we could do Courtney Lee, DeLon Wright, and Justin Jackson for Drummond and Rose.
Uh, so yeah, we need to talk about the other trades too. So let's do
Mhm.
that because there is a couple trades that I would prefer, but I think I do prefer this over nothing, over losing.
Okay.
So yeah, over no move I prefer this, but I think there might be a few that might work. Anyway, let's go to the Warriors.
Oh, we are here. Hello.
Any traction with D'Angelo Russell and Andre Drummond?
I don't think so. Not right now. I
Yeah.
mean, we've won championships, with some not heavily paid big men. That I don't think that we want to do Russell for Drummond, especially asset management wise. If Drummond would just walk on us and suddenly we would not have that trade chip to go all in on, I don't think it'd be a good look for us.
All right. The Turkish crew, just all of my Turkish followers, liked that one a lot more than you did, which was
That
interesting
one,
to me. It was interesting.
that's
Like,
funny.
I just don't know. Like, I probably wouldn't do it either. Like, I'm
hmm
probably more on your side, but they have a much more big man type vibe over there. So it's
Love
just
the big men.
interesting to see like what kind of players that they prefer and like which deals that they think are good. Because
Right.
I just think it's like a different way of watching basketball, not necessarily right or wrong. Because neither like D'Angelo Russell, he has a lot of weaknesses too. But anyway, let's go to the Clippers.
Yes.
We would enjoy a package of Zubac, Mo Harkless, and one of the like Patrick Patterson. Like I think we need that to make the money work.
Zubac.
Oh no, that doesn't work. Jermichael Green, maybe that probably works.
Yeah.
We could add something too if you need, because I feel like you would.
We would need something, and especially like some wings back or something as well. So give that to me one more time. We from our side we had Harkless, Zubac,
Yeah,
and you said Jermichael.
yeah. Harkless, Zubac, and Jermichael. So that brings you up to around like 17, 22. You need to get to 22, and I think that gets you to 22.
Yeah, that's enough for Drummond. Um,
But if we
I
add
mean,
something, then it doesn't work.
right. So here's our thinking right now. I mean, we got Zubac on a nice deal for several years. Good big man there. We got Harrell. Out west, there's not really any big men that we're particularly afraid of in the playoffs. I mean, we're kind of just staring at Anthony Davis and LeBron and such. Um, we like what Drummond could do for us on the boards there, but we do believe that Mo Harkless is going to be a very integral part of us attempting to get Robert Covington from the Timberwolves. So I don't know if this is how we kind of want to spend our chips. We aren't too enthralled by this deal.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily see any other one that could possibly work because you don't want to give up on Beverly and Harkless,
No, no, yeah, we can't give
or
up on Beverly.
and you don't want to give up on Lou Will, and like
Mm-mm.
definitely not Harrell. So
Yep.
like, it would have to be like Jermichael Green, Rodney Magruder, Zubac, and Mo Harkless for like Drummond and Rose. But I don't know if you want to do
Right.
that. So all right,
Yeah, Lou gives us what Rose would, so it's kind of diminishing returns to have both of them, I believe.
and you'd probably rather have Lou. Anyway, let's move on
Yep.
to the Rockets. Damn, I have a lot more than I thought. So
Yeah.
the Rockets.
Yes, we're here.
Clint Capella and PJ Tucker for Drummond.
We can't do both of them. PJ is just too valuable to what we do. And obviously Clint alone can't make up for it, but we've got Clint locked up for a few years here, and we've already got that chemistry kind of ingrained. So I don't believe that we have enough money that we could do this deal.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on, Drummond. Is there any sort of kind of situation where Miles Turner could be inside a deal?
We thought about that as well. I mean, Miles Turner is just sometimes such a sieve on the defensive glass that, Drummond would be kind of a welcome upgrade there. But we do like what Miles Turner can do, at least with extending his range out. We think that's going to be something that he'll be able to do over the next few years. So I'm not crazy about that, and we've got him locked up under contract. We're not sure if Drummond would stay with us past this year.
All right. The Pelicans.
Yes, we're here.
Derek Favors, Etwan Moore, and a first protected, lottery
Um,
protected.
we don't want to do a first, but I did have this written down as well, and we thought just Favors and more straight up for Drummond would be the deal we'd like to do.
Yeah, I mean that's fair on your end, and the reason why I added those two players is because your whole roster is kind of good competitive players, and I needed to bring in expiring money, and then I wanted a future asset. But this like Favors and more are just kind of expiring
Right.
deals with no future asset. So it seemed like too much for you to give up, but it also didn't make sense for me not to have the first. Like if it was Josh Hart, maybe I still don't think you would want to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just not the move to go all in to get Drummond that's gonna take us over the top, and suddenly we'll be contending in the West. So we could do it straight up for those guys, but we don't want to give any sort of future asset
Also,
or
Zion and
young
Drummond.
player.
Zion and Drummond might not be exactly what you want. Drummond for Whiteside and a lottery protected first. Portland.
This one we've been thinking of as well. Lottery protected first. We are now in the 8th seed. Oklahoma City looking good, but we think that we can catch them.
And the
Um,
Drummond factor also coming into play, and not
Yeah.
Whiteside.
Exactly. If we could do so lottery, So, mm, we do like it.
They're
I'm just
making the
trying.
say like literally my cap sheets have them at $1 different.
I on ESPN it's $2. Hilariously, that's just wild. Good for Drummond's agent to get him that extra $2 though. Um, I think we can do that, but we would also ask for Markieff Morris to make that happen.
um, Markeith
Wait, is he
Morris.
still on the? Wait, he's still listed. Isn't he on?
Oh, he might
Wait,
not
is
be.
he on Detroit or?
I thought it was.
Okay, yeah.
We have
Markieff.
a minute
Both.
left. Yeah.
Yeah. We'd also like Markieff, but then we could do the lottery protected first, and we could go lottery top eight, top four, and then unprotected after that because we'll definitely convey that.
Okay. I'm just looking back at your roster to see if there's anyone else that. What about? Can I get a second on top of that?
I think so. Let me just see if I have any crazy seconds.
Just because I feel like I need
So
something from
we have
Markeith.
so the thing is we don't have any incoming seconds and we have all of our seconds heading out. Like
Okay.
2021, 23. So it'd be a 2022 second.
All right. Then can we make it a top 12 protected first?
So go let's say 12-6-4 unprotected.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I think that's my favorite deal, honestly.
Sweet.
All right, we're 13 seconds away. I had one more deal to say. I think Dwayne Dedmon, Trevor Ariza, but that was more to bring a third team in that might want to give
Mhm.
up a protected first for that. But it didn't happen, alas. I think that one. I mean, we locked it in. That was me locking it in by
Yep.
transitioning into analysis mode. But as you can see, a lot of options, a lot of discussions that weren't completely shut down, and I don't think will be completely shut down. So the market is out there for Drummond, right, DJ? That was.
Oh, absolutely.
I
listen,
thought
like
we had
big
the
men.
chemistry going there.
I thought that you were. I got caught up thinking about something else. I was staring down at some of the deals I didn't get to because even I
Oh,
had.
I
I think
didn't. I did. Shit, man, I forgot. I didn't ask
yeah,
you for
but
the deals.
none of mine were great. So let me give them to you. Chicago, Thad Young, Cristiano Felicio, Chris Dunn, straight up for Drummond.
No, I'm good with the big rotation, so that doesn't make sense.
Cleveland, Kevin Love for Drummond, straight up.
That's a toss up. I mean, that's just both. No, I wouldn't do it if I'm Pistons.
For Cleveland, I figured, well, maybe just salary clearing at worst, and at best, you get a younger guy that maybe you could
No,
flip again. Fine.
I was thinking of Cleveland and I was like, wait, I would want value. And then I'm just like, no one's going to give value for Kevin Love at this point because of just everything that's going on, his contract, and the Cleveland's necessity to get rid of him. No one's going to buy
Right.
on that.
Knicks, Portis and Taj for Drummond and Morris. You reunite the Morris twins.
Interesting. That's a very good reason. But nah.
Memphis, Iggy and Valanciunas for Drummond, and then just I put Curry Thomas, like any minimum guy. Uh, Clears some money there. Memphis could get Valanciunas, who is similar to Drummond in skill, not like too far off, and then they get Iggy as well.
Yeah, not over the other kind of discussions we were having.
hmm Minnesota would do Teague and Gorgie for Andre Drummond and Tony Snell.
Yeah, you weren't really trying to give up any value from your side for
Not
Drummond.
too much. And then Portland, I had Whiteside and Drummond written down. So then that's obviously the one that we finished with. And I think it makes some sense for Portland. I wanted to get someone else along the wing, and I think that Markeef. Always got to be careful when describing which Morris twin you think is on your team. Can help out in that regard a little bit, just to give us some more depth
No,
alongside our guys.
When you said Markeith, I was like, oh, that's actually a really good move by you. And I was
Mhm.
like, I don't really have like a crazy reason to keep him, and I would definitely rather do this than any other
Yeah.
deal. So then I was like, but I also didn't want to give up Markeith for what I thought was a fair deal anyway, for just to add him
hmm
in the deal. So that's why I asked for the second.
Yeah, which
Or but
unfortunately
you didn't
Portland's
have
already
it.
given them
So
all
then I
away.
was like, oh, I need to get something. So I was just like, all right, give me at least 3 picks of leeway
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
lottery. Um, So yeah, anything else that you had?
No, those are
No,
all the trades
for sure.
that I had written down. Yep, all of them.
Any other one that like kind of stuck out? So what do you think of the Dallas one? Because I kind of liked that one, sort of, because it was Drummond and Rose for DeLon Wright, Justin Jackson, and Tim Hardaway Jr. Or no, Courtney Lee.
So yeah, it was
Courtney
yeah.
Lee.
So Courtney Lee, I think is salary that can be moved. DeLon Wright, I think he's been having a fairly good year, but I mean, when it gets to the playoffs, it's basically going to be all Luka Doncic. And if I get Derrick Rose in there that can handle the ball and score some when Luka's on the bench, I think that solves that kind of backup point guard in the playoffs issue. And we still have Jalen Brunson to give some ball handling off the bench in the regular season. And then Drummond, yeah, I mean he's just going to pick all the rebounds, so Porzingis can kind of float around more on the perimeter versus guarding the big guys down low. And I mean, if Drummond and Porzingis does work really, really well offensively or and defensively, just as a pair, you could kind of just have Powell and Kleba be your backup bigs and keep those guys together. And they've been having a lot of success. So I think that this would give you some pretty decent depth. Justin Jackson isn't as important in the wing rotation, I don't think, as Dorian Finney-Smith, Seth Curry, or Tim Hardaway Jr. at this point, and now there's Courtney Lee. So I think that that's a trade that would help them out. And yeah, for Detroit, they get DeLon Wright, who can play point guard for him instead of Reggie Jackson, and then Justin Jackson in there as a flyer on the wing. Courtney Lee, just expiring contract, could be flipped, could
Yeah,
be let go.
for me it was like, all right, Rose is there, nice, and I like Rose. I also don't think DeLon Wright and Justin Jackson, two young players that can kind of become something in the future, would be available if it was just Andre Drummond. Maybe
hmm
and I think the money needs to work too there anyway. Um, but does the money work with Rose and Drummond?
So my thought was that I have at least on ESPN I have listed a Harrison Barnes trade exception for 11 some million.
That's
So
what
if I
we
took
got down
Derrick
to.
Rose
Yeah.
into there, it would be a 25 and a half for 27. So that's why I think it should have
That's why
worked.
we worked, yes.
And you would get then a trade exception for Derrick Rose's salary.
Yeah. And you have to consider, like, I'm not in the business of keeping my guy if the deal that I think I should get isn't there, and then losing for nothing in free agency, because the deal I think I should get was just me overvaluing what the market actually was, and just
Yeah.
accept that and understand that if this deal is available, it's better than not doing it at all, which is, I think, a dance that sometimes we see teams fall on the wrong end of, i.e., Atlanta Hawks with Horford and Millsap.
Yep.
So it's with them. Maybe they thought they would keep him. This is like even more guaranteed that Drummond's not going to resign. It seems like, so it's just definitely better than not getting anything else in the return. And then any other, I don't think there was anything else that was really eye-opening or interesting for me. The Hawk scenario isn't really fun. The
hmm
Drummond and Rose for Hayward, not Hayward, but if I was on your end of the table, I would have really pushed for something to make work of Marcus Smart, Daniel Tice, and his Cantor, which gets you to like 21.2, and then you can toss in a minimum
One of
contract.
the young guys.
Yeah,
It's close. That's a lot of dudes for one. A lot of like depth given up there. So I wasn't sure because I figured that there might be another
but you
big
can keep
man out on the
You
market you
can
can
keep
find.
Robert Williams. You lose
hmm
Canner and Tice, which Tice is probably the toughest blow. You just don't have any other contracts. So I was
Right.
thinking, like, could we maybe bring in another team, or is that even worth it for them? Like, because Canner, I'm fine with giving up. I'm not, if I'm the Celtics, like, that's all right, fine. He's a good regular season piece, but he's not gonna provide value in the playoffs as much.
Right.
Even though, like, in the real, like, he'll provide value in some playoff games. Portland clearly saw that, but I think when it
hmm
matters is when he can't. And when it matters is just upon, like, sitting next to elimination. He's just not as good of a player as you want. So anyway, Drummond, I feel like, could be that player. And it's just so many guys that you need to give up. So you might need to toss in, if I'm the Pistons, like, would you toss in a first if, like, Romeo Langford was also included?
Romeo Langford is going to be an interesting one if they would want to pick somebody up. That would be a very interesting piece to grab right away because he's got a pretty stacked rotation ahead of him that it's going to be tough for him to crack these next few years.
Yeah, it's just the money is tough to make work.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Boston just in general for trades is everyone that's making money is pretty valuable to what they do.
Exactly. Same. Not fully the same thing with the Pelicans, but it's like they have a lot of
Yeah,
players that kind of just are good value.
and they want to let those guys kind of settle out a little
Yeah.
bit more before they start to really decide. And like you said, Zion hasn't even played yet, so to go after a guy like Drummond without kind of seeing what Zion can do, because I mean, there's a lot of people that are talking about those Zion at five lineups, and if you like those, then why get a big man in his place?
100%. That's it. That's all, folks. DJ, anything you want to say before we log off?
First day of the new dodgeball league. This one's with like the friends rather than like the random really competitive people. So fingers crossed it goes better because we got last place in that competitive league. In our defense, only 4 teams in the league though, so 25% chance is gonna happen. This is like a 10 team league, I think it is, or
That's
nine.
that's crazy. And then anyone who's listening all the way to the end of this show, we're gonna have a lot more things going on in the new year. I'm kind of trying to see, maybe I think I'm gonna leave my job and try to see if I can make things work.
Mm.
Not just for the bench mob, just a bunch of other things that are going on that I'm gonna be trying. So I'm gonna have a lot more time. I want to make bench mob kind of come back, whether it be twice a week or three or however much. I think I want to be able to do the trade deadlines and then also talk general NBA. That might be weekly. I'll try to bring a lot more people. So in like 2 to 3 weeks, we're gonna kick back up. Appreciate y'all supporting. If you're listening to the end of this right now, you're probably one of the people that kept on and is always looking for one of our pods. So we really appreciate you. Hit us up, DM us on Twitter at the Benchmob NBA. Hit me up personally at Iconic. I love meeting and talking to everyone who listens. And then DJ at DJ Rexstad. I'll be sharing that out too. Catch us on YouTube Live if you want to hear us or watch us or talk with us, chat with us during the trade. That has been fun for both Bullish and my Turkish stuff. So I'm going to try to apply all that stuff to the bench mob moving forward. Thanks to all you support, and we'll talk to you next time. Peace.